I started getting pain when I was about 11, and throughout that whole time they thought it was a cyst, they thought it was psychological. Because I had been skiing and I had fallen over and they kept feeling it, saying no, there's nothing wrong there. They'd sent me to physiotherapy. When I had physiotherapy, he said, no, I can't see like a problem here. If you ever feel any pain, listen to music. And I was like to Mum, this is crazy. I'm not making this pain up. My mum is a nurse and she'd said, you've been doing all of these things, but you've never tested it. And then I saw an oncologist. I couldn't even bend my leg and he went, we're gonna get you tested because this is not normal, this isn't okay.
When a patient presents with a lump in the thigh, it's usually labelled as a growing pain, a strain, or a sports injury. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. What we do know is that if you do have a lump, it's more likely to be a benign lump. However, if that lump is increasing in size, if it's painful, then the chances are it could be a sarcoma and it should be looked at.
I had a biopsy and I had the results coming through. So initially we walked into the hospital and was like, oh, we're going to the Macmillan building. And I thought, why are we going to the Macmillan building? Surely we're going to the main building. She went, no, this is where the appointment is. We sat down. I was apprehensive, but I didn't think, oh, I'm gonna be diagnosed today. And a nurse brought me in, there was 5 nurses, and the doctor sort of eased me in and was like, oh, what we found is that it is malignant. I didn't know what that meant. And my mum was just crying, and I said, oh, I don't know what's going on, but I know it's not good. So can someone just tell me? And everyone was silent, and my mum was just really, my mum was crying, and I was very confused. And then I started getting upset, and I was like, right, okay. So they told me it was cancer, and I was like, right, okay. Everything that I had planned to do in that year, because I was doing A-levels, I was like, what do I do now? Everything that I wanted to do. I failed my driving test, like the week before. I just wanted to pass my driving test. I wanted to plan my girls' holiday and get into uni. I was just about to send my application off. I just thought, I can't do anything now. Now what do I do? I was diagnosed with synovial sarcoma in my right knee. In my head, I was like, what is going to happen to me? Yeah, I definitely thought that death was an option, which is crazy to think at 17 years old. You never think, no one ever thinks that they're going to die that young, do you know? I didn't know anyone who had sarcoma. So on my ward, no one had sarcoma. So I was like, oh, what do you have? And they'd say Hodgkin's lymphoma or something like that. I'm like, oh, I have sarcoma. And then they're like, oh, I've never heard of that, what's that? When someone has the exact same thing as you, it's very easy to be like, oh, did you feel like this? Oh, did you feel like that?
Most people at home, most people on the street won't know what a sarcoma is because they wouldn't have come across it. It's a very rare cancer. We don't really have much publicity or public awareness or healthcare professional awareness compared to other cancers, which we read about in the news all the time.
I heard about Sarcoma UK straight away from the get-go. So there was groups, local groups, and you could go along, have coffee and talk to other people about sarcoma, how you're feeling. There was a helpline, and she told me everything about sarcoma and how rare it is and the treatment that they offer. I asked her any questions, she was like, have you got any worries? And I told her every worry that I had. I was like, am I going to be bald? That was the first thing I said. And she was like, I think you might lose your hair. And I had really long hair. So I had chemotherapy from December to May. The surgery took the tumour out, and then following that I had radiotherapy every day for 6 weeks. No matter how many people give you love, no matter how many people can give you hugs and kisses or say it's going to be okay, you're doing really well, nothing makes it better because it's just a feeling you can't change. Whilst you're having chemotherapy pumped into you, there's nothing you can do to make that feeling stop, even when you're sleeping. To people who do have sarcoma, I think it is really important to get in touch with Sarcoma UK. They are specialists in that cancer, so you can be surrounded by like-minded people, get specialist knowledge, and you won't feel as lonely when you can relate to someone in the same situation as you. You can't comprehend how much they help you until you're in that situation, until you're on the other side, having all that support. You don't know how important it is. I've had the all clear, and now I'm at university. I got accepted. Yeah, I'm loving it. It's crazy to think I'm here because this is all I dreamed of. It's crazy to think all I wanted to do was be a university student. Chemotherapy can affect your eggs, and you might not be able to have kids in the future. I never knew anything about sarcoma before I had it. It's usually misdiagnosed, and I think it's very important to build awareness about that.
When did you actually realise that you first had cancer then? Like, how did you know?
To think that I was 11 when I was having pain, to being diagnosed when I was 17, that's a crazy amount of time. That took a very long process. I kept going back. Every day for a week I went, and they kept telling me the same thing. It's just all psychological. That's when I was like 15, 16 sort of thing. And then I found out when I was 17. So all that time I had it basically, and they didn't know. I wouldn't want anyone else to go through that. So the more awareness there is, people can look out for signs. People can look out for signs for other people if it's not themselves. That's why I say it's really important for you to check. I would not be the person I am today if I'd not gone through cancer. I've learnt so many things about myself. How I want to be in the future, how I want to now act in life, has all been because of my experience.